So let's look at some statistics and some facts about hunger in our community. The largest, most comprehensive study ever conducted on domestic hunger is the Hunger in America 2010, and it was recently released. And it's the first research study that looks at the downturn in the economy, which is interesting, and the increased need for emergency food assistance. Can you tell us some of the key things that were learned from this study in Washtenaw County, what you learned about that?
So nearly 44,000 individuals were accessing our emergency food sources, and that's only our emergency food providers. We work with housing programs providers and drug treatment centers, so that number doesn't even cover those nonprofits that we work with. That included 14,000 children and 6,500 seniors. And it's important to note that the seniors numbers has almost doubled in the 4 years that that study was done. So this study is done every 4 years by Feeding America, which is our national membership. And that is really concerning. And over that time as well, that's 138% increase total.
That's amazing. 138% increase in clients. I just, in 4 years, I mean, it's almost overwhelming, and the fact that you've been able to keep up or almost keep up.
Yeah, we're trying to keep up, but there's always that gap, and that's why we're focusing on getting people enrolled in food stamps, because we know there always will be that gap. We're trying to rely on the federal funding that's there and get people enrolled for food stamps, which is now called SNAP.
Right, and that's part of this food security plan where you came, the emphasis. So you have this tremendous growth in need, and apparently food gatherers with funding from United Way of Washtenaw County and the Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation and the Knight Foundation did a study, and then you implemented a new food security plan. Can you just give us a big picture of what were some of the findings of this food security study?
One of the critical findings that we saw was that only 13% of the population that we were serving was having access to fruits and vegetables. There are 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and we saw that as a terrible missed opportunity, and that we needed to increase individuals' access to fresh fruits and produce. And the largest obstacle for them to get these items was cost.
Right.
So we decided to work on a lot of sustainable growing initiatives. The Faith in Food initiative was one of that. The Gathering Farm came from this community food security plan. And we also did Edible Avalon, which we partnered with Avalon Housing, and they planted gardens or raised beds on site at low-income housing complexes, and individuals would raise their own food and then eat their own food. So we basically removed ourselves from the situation.
Okay, can you give us, the study uses terms to differentiate levels of food insecurity. There's food insecure with hunger, and very low food security. Can you tell us what they mean?
Yeah, so food insecurity is a person's risk of not being able to provide food for themselves or their family. And then those levels, low food security means they've missed meals, and then hunger is they've missed multiple meals. So it's really kind of...
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did read on your website, which is a wonderful website, you can kind of drill down and get more, that of those using emergency food pantries, 92% of the families with children are food insecure.
Yeah.
And of all the clients, 76% are food insecure, and 39% have the most severe condition of very low food security. That's an amazing thing to think of in Washtenaw County, that so many people are hungry or fear hunger, fear that they will be hungry.
Yes, unfortunately, people are having to make hard choices. They're choosing between paying for medical bills or their mortgage or transportation and food, and that's not our reality. We believe if there's enough food in our community, no one should go hungry.
And I didn't cite, but there was another study done that said actually that things are going to be worse, that the United Way commissioned a study, and that in 2013, 1 out of 4 won't have enough food.
Yes, 1 out of 4 children, I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, just an amazing number to think about. And the other number that I thought was very interesting is that 82% of those who are food insecure are employed.
Yeah. So these are working
Part-time,
families.
full-time,
Yeah.
and you know, so I just think that it's, you know, you just don't know who is really having these problems. So some of the strategies that that you're implementing, you talked about one, about the food stamps, about SNAP.
Right.
And how is it that, what are you doing, what is Food Gatherers doing to get people to use the food stamps?
Yeah, so we received funding from the government and also the state of Michigan to train volunteers to help people get registered for SNAP benefits. The process has been very cumbersome and very complicated, and what we're doing is training people to help individuals find out if they're eligible, to get the paperwork in order, because it is quite an intensive process.
Right, because it said that you think that 73% more households really would be eligible.
Would be eligible. And we have one of the highest eligibility rates too of people who are eligible for food stamps and then also receive them. So the people that we're registering are getting SNAP benefits because they're eligible. And it really benefits us because that's money that's coming into our grocery stores and our economy from the federal government.
Right. It's an interesting thing that the process for someone is so cumbersome, is so difficult, and someone in a stress situation to have to fill out a form, it could probably be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So it's very good that you have the volunteers. And do the volunteers go to where the people are?
Absolutely.
Yes?
Yep. They're going to libraries. They're going to events where you know they know that there may be a population there that they can serve, and we are distributing our contact information and also getting people the 1-800 numbers and just doing all that we can to connect people to those resources.
So there's also what you're doing is supporting for community food security. My understanding is that Food Gatherers is really a proponent of the small farm, and can you talk a little bit about that?
We do work with local farmers through the Food Bank Council of Michigan. We work on what is called the MASS project, which is the Michigan Agricultural Surplus System. And that works with Michigan farmers to offer food banks a portion of their crops at a very low discounted rate. And we get great crops from Michigan, apples and potatoes and carrots and onions. And it's great produce and great healthy food. And we also work with small local farms to, they dedicate a portion of their crops to food gatherers.
So I'm wondering, you know, Ann Arbor has a greenbelt, and part of what the greenbelt is doing is supporting kind of a relatively new idea, supporting the small farmer. Do you have any relationship with the greenbelt or discussions with them, or?
It's in the works.
Ah.
It's in the works, yes.
What is in to have some kind of link up with it?
Yes, we're always working on building partnerships with local food sources and farms. Community farms are local, and they have produce, which is a big proponent of our strategic plan with the Community Food Security Plan. We're building partnerships with farmers. Local farmers too, we have a thing called Plant a Row for the Hungry, and just your regular backdoor gardener can plant a row of produce for us and come and donate it to food gatherers.
Oh, very nice. Yes, very nice. So one of the things that you talked about was this limit of affordability for fresh fruit and vegetables. But there was also, the report said, the question of availability. It was interesting that some of the suppliers, some of the places where they can get food are not open every day.
Right.
They have shorter hours. They have to know when they can go there. So is there any attempt to
We work with pantries. Our network, we're constantly trying to fill in the gaps and find agencies to work with that are open evening hours or open on weekends, so that people have options.
Right, because that seemed to be an interesting dilemma. You know, if the store is only open for a few hours on Tuesday and maybe Friday, and you can't get it, then they can't have very much. I did read that they were getting some assistance, that the Michigan Department of Community Health is helping it fund some 7 pantries so that they can afford refrigerators or freezers, and so maybe that will help also, and they'll be able to be open more. What are some of the targeted plans, would you say, a few of them for the coming for 2011, 12? You know, so what are some of the big projects that you might be trying to implement?
Well, in addition to our growing initiatives, which we're also continuing to focus on and grow those, we are working to build agency capacity. So Food Gatherers just doesn't do food for our partners. We give money too. So we started to give capacity building grants, which you spoke of could be used to keep the lights on in their food pantry, to keep staff hired there, keep their doors open longer, to buy refrigerators. So we're seeing that our network of pantries needs this kind of operational support. So we're doing fundraising and then making mini grants to those organizations so we can build their capacity to serve the population.
Yeah, build a little more sustainability, a little more independence perhaps.
Yes.
That's wonderful. When I went to your site, there are donations, but then there's this wish list.
Yeah.
Tell us about your wish list, because what an unusual list of things are on there.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
Yeah, we are an efficient organization, so there's some very common things on there, like snow removal services.
Yes.
Balling twine, I think, for our gathering farm. So copy paper, you know, just essential little things that will help us reduce our bottom line and make sure that most of the money is going to our mission and serving people in need.
Right. You even asked for fuel cards.
Yes.
And sturdy brooms.
Yes. Fuel cards. I just found out that actually our trucks get, I think it's 7 miles per the gallon.
Oh.
And we have 5 trucks on the road. I think we do 36 runs a week. We run on Saturdays too. So gas is a huge expense for Food Gatherers.
Especially now, I mean, it's just getting worse and worse. So I think that is, would you like to tell us about upcoming Food Gatherers events?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, please do.
Circle of Art is coming in May, and that's a silent auction. Hundreds of local artists donate their art, and it's displayed at Celine Picture Frame Company. They also do it online. It's a silent auction, and all the proceeds from that event benefit Food Gatherers. That event is May 15th, and you can check it out at circleofart.net or through our website, www.foodgatherers.org. And then the big event, which is our seminal Grillin' Picnic with a Purpose.
Yes.
Yes, that happens June 12th. It's always the second Sunday at the Washtenaw Farm Council grounds. And we have live music and a silent auction, and it's just a great big community picnic.
And do you have, the signs for it are usually wonderful. The artwork is just...
I just saw the artwork just recently, and it is amazing. It's really going to be a fun year for artwork for Grillin'. It's just a great event. We had 2,000 people last year attend the event.
Well, it's wonderful, and I thank you very much. And once again, why don't you say what your website is?
It's www.foodgatherers.org.
Very good. And I want to thank you, Mary, for, as you would say, giving us the story behind the carrot. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you, our viewers, for watching. We would like to hear your comments and your suggestions. Write to us. You know, we always welcome other perspectives. Good night.